After a 4-month hiatus, the NBA is finally back in action. We have assembled a roundtable of experts, Jackson Brodie, Alex Sherron, and Steve Normington, to give us a preview of the 2012-2013 season. Now, guys, start pretty simple here. What is the biggest storyline heading into the season?
I'm going to go with the New York Knicks. With everything that happened this offseason.
Always a story in New York.
Absolutely. With Jeremy Lin leaving and then bringing in just about every veteran over the age of 80. You've got Jason Kidd, Marcus Camby, Kurt Thomas. It goes on and on and on. A ton of questions there. Will Carmelo Anthony work and gel with this team? A lot of questions in New York.
Who cares about the New York Knicks?
Everyone.
No one outside the city of New York cares about the New York Knicks.
It's a large
and they're
city.
gravitating over to Brooklyn now. No, the biggest storyline this season is the Miami Heat and LeBron James. Everyone is making moves to catch up to the Heat. Everyone is trying to do things to be able to beat them and to counter how they've been changing the NBA. They've been going to this more athletic team, getting away from the classic point guard, center, all the positions way that teams have been playing, and they're just going for pure athleticism. And LeBron is ruling over everyone. It doesn't matter what anyone else does.
Okay, I have some information for you. The team that everyone is talking about this offseason, the Lakers, are a team that is a traditional basketball team. They have the best center in the league, Dwight Howard, a pure scorer, perhaps one of the best pure scorers in NBA history.
But what are people talking about? They're saying, are these moves good enough to be able to beat LeBron James?
No, people are saying that it's going to be fun basketball to watch. These guys are going to be incredible. I'm so excited to see Steve Nash throwing alley-oops to Dwight Howard, playing the pick-and-roll game, spacing out the floor.
It is all going to be
offense.
really interesting to see how it unfolds. And like you said, these teams are trying to catch up, and there have been a lot of moves this offseason. So, Sherron, I'll start with you. What player do you think is going to have the biggest impact in his new city?
Well, I'll go back and I'll talk about your Lakers for a little bit, Steve.
There you go.
When you look at the Lakers, there are two main faces you see. You see Dwight Howard and Steve Nash. A lot of people are gravitating toward Howard. But I'm going to go and look at Steve Nash as the best player, as the most important player for that team. You know, people are talking about how this pick-and-roll offense with Dwight Howard and Steve Nash is going to be the talk of the town. Everyone's going to be loving it. But I'm going to say you got to look at Steve Nash with Paul Gasol more. You look at the previous power forwards that he's had, Amari Stoudemire, and Gortat was a center, but he played that pick and pop more than pick and roll. Paul is going to give him more options than Dwight on the pick and roll, and it's going to be great to see them work together. But Nash is going to give all of those players wide open shots, and it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Steve, what do you think is going to be the biggest player?
I think that you have to say Andrew Bynum, and for the sole reason that the 76ers have completely changed their game plan. Compared to last year. Their new identity is three-point shooting and kicking the ball in and watching Bynum do work. Anytime you have Darrell Wright, Jason Richardson, and Evan Turner on the same team who can all shoot lights out, I think that's going to be exciting basketball. And it's not as much of a Doug Collins down and dirty identity. It's more of a traditional basketball team. And I think it should be really interesting to see how all these pieces fit in together in Philly.
I'm going to go with James Harden. I like these two picks, but the recent trade of
the
James
more recent
Harden,
move.
Yes, to the Rockets. They went under a complete overhaul this offseason. It seems like everything is coming down to Jeremy Lin and what he's going to be able to do and how far he's going to be able to take that team. I like Harden coming off the bench, former Sixth Man of the Year. They have some cap room for this upcoming summer after this season. I think he's going to make a big move with that franchise.
Now, you guys are all mentioning how much these franchises are getting better and better, but we have a little bit more time here, so let's talk about the rivalries in the game. Now, obviously, everybody's trying to match up to the Heat, but which rivalry do you think is going to be the best this year, Steve?
As Jackson mentioned earlier, the Nets and the Knicks is obviously a huge rivalry in New York. You have people switching over that have been lifelong Knicks fans and jumping on the Nets bandwagon simply because Jay-Z is there, and this franchise is so sexy. They're a beautiful franchise. Everyone's falling in love with them, and they're just exciting. They have, I think, the best backcourt in the game right now with Deron Williams, Joe Johnson, and Gerald Wallace as well. So I think it's just going to be great basketball to watch.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go with the Lakers and the Thunder.
Okay.
Sherron, these guys have touched on it. The Thunder have gone to they were just in the finals. The Lakers want to get back there. You know Kobe Bryant wants to get back to the finals and win it. So I'm going to go with Lakers Thunder. I think it's going to be a great rivalry this season. The Lakers trying to get back over the hump with these new moves, no pressure or anything.
Guys, I'm sorry, but I just can't see a single rivalry in the NBA this year.
None?
No. Half these guys are great friends. Kevin Durant and LeBron James work out together. Why is that? How is that rivalry? They're helping each other. All of them follow each other on Twitter.
That doesn't mean it won't be great basketball and it won't be hard competition.
Okay, you can talk about great matchups, but a rivalry are when two teams hate each other.
So who do you
right,
have?
so
the closest thing you
Please
have.
tell us.
We may not see rivalries to that level this year. We will see some interesting matchups looking for the superiority
Right.
in the West and in the New York City. Now, last thing here, very quick, finals predictions. Jackson, who you got?
I'm going outside the box. I'm tired of the same matchups. I'm going to go with the Lakers over the New York Knicks.
The Knicks, okay.
I'm give it to the
The old
Lakers,
guys.
The old guys. I like what obviously the Lakers did this offseason, the Big Four. The Knicks, I'm going to somehow just hope that it all somehow fits together, and that's your matchup.
I understand you want to go outside the box, but that's ridiculous. It's got to be the Heat over the Lakers. Losing Harden was too much for the Thunder.
It's generic, trying to stay away from the generic pick.
That's true, but it's
People
ridiculous.
in a nursing home are going to love your pick, by the way.
That's what I'm here to help.
Oh my
I'm here
gosh.
to help.
But
All right,
I
Steve,
think
who
it's
you
going to
got?
be the Lakers over the Heat simply because I don't think that the Heat are going to be able to match up with the Lakers in a half-court setting. And I think that's what it's going to come down to.
That's fair, athleticism versus
Absolutely.
team.
Lots of experts both picking the Lakers or the Heat. Not so many on the Knicks, but we'll have to see. Got plenty of season ahead of us, just starting tonight. Time to step away, but when one-on-one returns, Kurt and one of our college football experts try to figure out if the NFL or college football reigns superior. Don't go anywhere.